Hello, everybody. It is Art Quilt Thursday on Friday. Thank you for being so understanding. I feel kind of like a baby, honestly. Um, I went to the dentist yesterday, and I thought she had to do two fillings on one tooth, and it turned out she had to do two big ones on two teeth, or one big one on each of two teeth. There, does that make sense? and so anyway, and then she took pictures. Nowadays, dentistry has come so far. They have this little camera. They can take pictures of your teeth at different stages and show you exactly what they're talking about, which they did, and I appreciate. And what happened is when she took out my old cracked fillings, and she said they had probably been in my mouth since I was a teenager. And so when she took those out, she realized both teeth were cracked. So she knew one of them had a crack. She could see part of it, but she didn't know how bad the cracks were. Well, one of my teeth is not a tooth I chew on. There's no tooth below it to chew on. But the other one is an important molar. And let me show you. I tell you what, I have such appreciation for my teeth. And now I know I want to hang on to my teeth as long as I possibly can. Dentures are not a good option, and I know I can't afford those implants. So here are your teeth. These are my top molars. So, and there's a small one back there. This one has a crack, but she said the filling should hold it fine. It doesn't come into contact. And the thing you have to remember about molars, they not only bite down, they bite and twist. And that's the thing. So the one she's worried about has a crack all the way down the length of the tooth and a crack that branches off that way. And she said, this is more than you ever wanted to know about dentistry. But she was sharing, so I thought I'd share with you. The problem with the crack that goes that way is she said it will do like a multi-trunked tree. At some point, it's going to give away and it'll go into three pieces. She said, then we can't fix it. So I said, oh my goodness. So she even showed me after they drilled out the old filling. I mean, you could see my root in there. She showed me what it looked like, took pictures to show me, showed me the cracks on them. So anyway, she said, we need to get that one fixed. I'm going to put the filling in, but it's not going to last forever. We need to get this done. And it's so much easier to get the crown on now and preserve the tooth than to wait and oops. And I don't know about y'all, but I can't eat lollipops and hard mints without chewing. It's a bad habit I've had since a kid, and I never can seem to make myself stop doing it. So I realized hard candy's out of the question anymore. These old teeth can't handle that crunch, crunch, crunch. So anyway, and be careful of almonds. They can hurt your teeth too because they're right firm. So anyway, to make a long story short, in about 3 weeks, I'm going to have a crown put on there. Well, that's going to be expensive. They'll let me know how much. I had to take a picture of the root to prove to the dental insurance company. Luckily, when I got my Medicare, I got dental and prescription. So they'll pay for some, but I don't think they'll pay for much. It's been an expensive year. So I saw what Mary said about the sewing machine. And yeah, I came home from the dentist yesterday and thought, forget a new machine. I mean, we've had the air conditioning. It's been one thing after another. You know that. So, but that's how life goes, isn't it? As soon as you think, I'm doing pretty good putting money in savings, things start happening. So be careful before you brag. Karma's listening, and she has a wicked sense of humor. So anyway, so the thing is, I got myself so worked up. I've had so much medical this year. And that major surgery just left me not wanting to be touched, not wanting any procedures, anything, just leave me alone, you know. And so I got myself all spooled up before I went to the dentist. And do you know that the whole time I was at the dentist, not one thing she did hurt. Not one thing. It's not the dentist I remember years ago, let me tell you. And I've been lucky. I haven't had a filling done in years. And it was only because these cracked that I had to have one done, had to have them done. And she even showed me the crack in the filling. So let me see. Jim, well, you should be done now. And yes, I'm hoping, you know, everything's done. So anyway, but to make a long story short, I had gotten myself so spooled up. They put this gel on your gum before they give you the Novocaine. I didn't even feel the Novocaine needle. How easy. I didn't feel any pain from any of the drilling, anything she did. Not a single ooh moment at the dentist. She was so gentle. I love women dentists and doctors. I'm sorry. They are so, so gentle. You know, normally when they put the band around the tooth to fix it, that can hurt. Nothing. I told her, she's the only dentist I want to see from now on. So I'm real tickled. And I got to tell you, this Ronalda Smiles is the name of the dental group here in Winston-Salem. And I don't get a discount for this. I just like to tell you when people do a good job. So anyway, she'll send me an estimate of what the crown's going to be. They're going to send the case. She took a picture of the root to show them it's healthy. Let's do this. And she'll get an answer from them. Cross my fingers, they cover part of it. So anyway, I came home and mostly I had ninny exhaustion. When you're such a little ninny that you get yourself so worked up that you come home and you're like almost drooling on yourself. Okay, I have to admit it. I was a total ninny. And so I guess about an hour and a half after I'd been home, I started feeling a little soreness, only enough to take one Advil, okay, not even a pair of Advil. But I decided I needed to get in my hammock. And I got in my hammock and fell down to sleep. So that's my story. Yes, I've heard I've heard about $1,000. Oh, so who knows? But would you like to hear the latest information about my new sewing machine? Would anybody like to hear? Would y'all like to be the first people to hear the story of the sewing machine? Oh, okay. So here is the story of the sewing machine. Oh, thank you, Miss Polly. Polly's so good. Polly, what Juki is your model? Could you tell me? Because Miss Polly, her husband surprised her for her birthday with a brand new Juki. And I don't know about you ladies, but Juki is my favorite machine. Favorite. So, yes, good point, Diane 57. So, anyway, I had bid on eBay for a machine from somebody across the country. And the first thing I should have really paid attention to was their approval rating was only 94.7. Well, that's a pretty good tip-off, you know. And then when I should have read the reviews to see how many times when people complained, no answer, no follow-up was shown. And I should have also realized something was up when all the sales were listed as private. There's a reason people don't want you to see information. So, but I thought I really wanted this machine. I've got the retreat coming up in not even a week and a half. I've got a retreat coming up and have no machine. I really don't want to take this big Elna. She's a big girl. And, I'm a big girl, but it's too much for me to handle. And so I really didn't want to take the Elna, but I was going to have to. And the company that still got it and still trying to get the parts in said that I could borrow one, but it's a good solid hour to go there. And then I'd have to go another hour down to the retreat. That's a lot for me. So, oh, that is a nice one, Miss Polly. I'm not getting one quite as nice as that. That is a doll baby machine. It even has beautiful decals. The QVP is Quilter, oh gosh, Quilter Virtuoso Pro or something like that. I mean, that's nice. That is very nice. So, this is the story. So I had paid that man, and then right away I get an email saying it's going to be shipped FedEx, and they expect it to get to me between November 4th and November 9th. Well, that Friday morning, bright and early, last Friday, he charged my credit card. I sat and waited. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Didn't hear a word. Checked FedEx every day. They hadn't received the package yet. They had only gotten notification. Ladies, I'm telling you this embarrassing story because it's really good to know some of the ploys that you need to kind of go, whoop, this is not a good thing. So, and I heard nothing. Once I had paid for it, I didn't hear a word from him. So anyway, finally on Wednesday, I said, that's it. They're supposed to get there tomorrow at the earliest. It hasn't even been shipped yet. FedEx doesn't even have it yet. I'm thinking, that's not right. This is 5 days and nothing has moved. Hi, Annette Parsons. How good to see you, Annette. So I'm like, oh boy. So I wrote him, contacted him through the eBay system. All of a sudden, immediately pops up information from him saying, oh, sorry, he had a mix-up with the machines because I said, you charged my card 10 a.m. Friday morning. Where's the machine? Why hasn't it shipped yet? And so I think he knew that, I wasn't a dummy and I wasn't going to let this go past. That's why I put it on a credit card, or you can put it on PayPal. Have somebody that can fight for you, a big company. Never pay cash like this if you're not right in front of the person's face and you don't trust them implicitly. So anyway, he wrote, oh, I can give you a refund if you want. I'm thinking, he said he had a mix up with the machines and it's missing a part. I'm like, what? Took you 5 days? How come you didn't know before you listed it was missing a part? I smelled a rat. So, he very quickly refunded me. Thank goodness. And I watched it, boy. I watched it and I watched it. Marsha's here. I'm loving seeing all these wonderful names. So anyway, I got the money back and I kept watching on my credit card. Is it pending? Wait for it to be real. And so yesterday and today, I'm looking around. Oh, and another thing. I have to partly blame myself because there were warning signs that in my haste, I hoped would work out. It was priced really cheap. And it said used, and I asked him what condition it was and all that. So I thought, okay, that's why. Be aware, if it's that much cheaper, there's a reason. Something's fishy. So anyway, I found another company, and I'll tell you, once I get it all in and everything, I'll tell you about my experience. But I actually wrote this person. I talked to him and said, I've had a bad experience, and I told him about our show, Our Time to Quilt, and I was looking for the Juki DX7, I think, is the last 3 digits, or the letter digits of the kind. And the reason I wanted that is because it has a float feature. It has the automatic presser foot lift. My Juki here is great for piecing and quilting. It's got my Elna. It's the big body machine, and it's wonderful for that. But I mostly do art quilts. If I do art quilts, I like working on all different kinds of fabrics, and I like thread painting. So I said, I really need, let me turn on my fan. I got warm. I forgot I've got my heater on in here, and it warmed the place up pretty good. So let me turn my heat off because I can feel a rising blush. So anyway, so I talked to this person and I checked him out. Boy, I went and found out where the business is and all this to make sure it was real. Checked out their Facebook site, everything. And ended up talking to him this afternoon, told him my story, and told him, talked about what I needed to do. So I ended up, honestly, I paid $250 more. I wasn't real happy about that, but you know what? That's a deal. That's a discount from what the average machines go through. And he is a distributor. He deals with the distribution company. So he's online sales, and he's got a brick and mortar warehouse, but he doesn't run a sewing store. So he's a little bit more free. He's authorized Juki, and the warehouse that he gets them from is a Juki distributor. So works out. So anyway, hopefully it'll get to me by next Friday. And I hated paying more. I wasn't going to do it. I was just going to let it drop. But Mark wouldn't. He's like, what are we going to do about that machine, Deb? You need that machine. He liked reading what it had about it and thought, So did I want to spend $1,000 for a machine right now? Nope. But do I need one? Because I have to be able to have a machine in the shop and a machine that I can carry on what I do. This is what I do. I love what I do, and I want to keep going. So the good news is I think I got it. As soon as I know for sure it's coming in, I'll tell you more about it, and I'll share who this person is, because I want to give him a kudos, because I was a little shy. I was gun shy after the first experience. But anyway, it's all good, I think, except for that kind of money. So I'll be letting you know when I'm sure it's in and it works great. It's supposed to be brand new. It's in the box still. And it's coming straight from the official Juki big distributor. So should all be good. And then when it's all in and everything's looking good, and I will then tell you about the Elna, because I want to go ahead and find the Elna a new home, especially a home with a traditional quilter, because it's really a nice machine, but it's for traditional quilting. Well, it's the Quilter's Dream Pro, so, that's good for that. It is the model that I'm getting, or the Elna. The Elna is the 7200 Quilter's Dream Pro. The new one I'm getting is the HZL DX7 Juki. So it's not quite as fancy as the one you got, Miss Polly. So anyway, but I'm happy, and here we go. So I'm sorry to take up that much time telling you, but it has been a whirlwind. Yeah, don't buy a puppy online either. Right now, especially with the shortages, there are lots of bottom feeders out there looking to take advantage of you. So please be careful and always have yourself backed up. Never send cash. I don't know if I would send cash to my mother. I mean, you got to be careful. So anyway, I want to show you what I've gotten done, and then let's talk about the new quilt. I finally designed the new quilt. I tell you what, I have spent I know 12 hours at least looking for inspiration ideas. I almost felt like giving up. But, okay, so here is my Halloween quilt. And it's just about done. I'm doing some thread painting, and I want to tell you, you know how when I do collage quilts, I use Elmer's glue, white glue. There's a reason for that. When you use fusible, it gums up my needle terribly. I used a titanium needle on the Selna, so hoping to prevent, and it's not as bad as a regular needle, but you still have to stop and clean that needle. It gums it up. So that's why when we do our normal landscapes, please think about using a glue stick or white glue, because the fusible will gum that machine up going up and down. I ended up having to put a new moon in because the old one, Sunday I showed y'all when I peeled off the old moon, it was dark underneath. And unfortunately, my background bled onto the moon when I used the ink tints. So just remember that any kind of thread painting or stitching down when you have fusible will gum the works off. So, but I like it much better now. I'm just doing the thread painting like for the spider's web. I finished thread painting the pumpkins. I added a little transition fabric from the light to the dark for them. I ended up using a better gray for the clouds in front of the moon and one of the bats. And so now it's just a matter of sew it all down. Then I'm going to put batting behind all of the moon and the pumpkins, an extra layer, then regular batting, and I've got my backing already cut out, and I'm going to quilt it on a regular machine. And that should give it some pretty good definition. But I only worked on this for 2 weeks, so I'm really happy. And I think once I get it finished, I'll put it in the box of decorations for Halloween. And I've got a really fun little Halloween quilt. Just to tell you, I do have that pattern if you would like that pattern. And if you would like it, you can write me at our time to, whoops, I didn't mean to make it in all caps. Let me go back and put my glasses on since I have to realize I'm an old woman. So let me get this. Okay. I saw some photos of myself recently. This camera fuzzes me out a little bit. I'm older looking than the camera makes me look. So I'll just always be on camera for y'all. If you come in town, stand outside the door. I'll be on the camera. I'm just kidding. Okay. So our time to quilt at twc.com. Okay. A bait and switch. Uh-huh. Good job. You have to be careful. And they're out there, and especially anything that starts getting pricier. You'll have people who just, go online, find an ad, and put it up like it's really something they have, and they don't. So, okay. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people have been taken advantage of with cars, campers, dogs, all that stuff. Okay. So if you want the pattern for the Halloween quilt, let me see. I drew it on a piece of golden threads paper, and then I made a copy, a PDF copy of it, and I'll be glad to send it to you. So just email me. I'll shoot it right to you. Okay. Here is my pattern for this art quilt. Whoops. Hold on. Let me put the star. I've got a cool star, meaning my main focus for this. Okay. Here is my main star. It's a giraffe. I am doing an African savanna sky, sunset sky. And the giraffe and the tree and even most of the grass, and well, the water will shine a little bit from the sunset, but it's going to be in black, in silhouette. But do you see all these pieces? So this is what I'm going to do. I've got all the pictures I'll show you in a few minutes, the inspirations that I chose from. Oh, thank you. I love that too. I had a hard time this time. You know, we think we have to wait until we get an inspiration. But being an artist, which maybe I am, being an artist is mostly determination. Don't fool yourself by sitting and waiting until you feel the moment. It might not happen. So just get in there and do the hard work. Get in there, look for inspiration. If it just doesn't ring your bells, then pick something. That's what I had to make myself do today, because I kept going, well, I don't know about this, or I don't know about that. This is the inspiration for how I'm going to do the background. And it's going to be tricky. That's a lot of little pieces of fabric. Okay? So, I showed myself, this is kind of a roadmap. Showed myself where I need yellow or a darker orange. You know, I put the dark turquoise. I'm going to have a little bit of turquoise sky, because the one thing I loved about this was the turquoise water. And I do have a little bit of water here, but it's going to be reflective of the sunset for the most part. So anyway, but in here I've got one of those, I don't know the name of it, but the African umbrella trees. And then a little mountain in the background, and this is going to be the sunset. And this is going to be the reflection in the sky. So, like I said, the giraffe, the tree are all going to be black, like silhouette. The ground is going to be black, like silhouette. The water's going to have reflection of the sunset right there. And then I will do some dark grass to give it that three-dimensional effect. Again, as you see, I'm doing it a little bit smaller, because that way I'll have more time to get the effect, to do the things I want to do to it. Now, you might wonder, well, where did I get that giraffe? Did I just sit down and draw it because I'm just so talented? No, I found a giraffe that I liked. I edited the picture to just him, and then I decided how tall I wanted it to be, and then I printed it. And I even printed it in grayscale so I didn't waste much black ink, because you know I'm cheap. And then I am going to draw around this on my fusible, put him on black fabric, and cut him out. So I'm really excited. And my background is going to be long strips of all, you know. In fact, let me show. Well, you can see right here. Here is, I've got so much fabric pulled out for this. And it's going to be all from that. So, I'll show you how, yes, you know, I was really torn. I wanted to do a diamond background. I wanted to do mosaic background. There were so many. In fact, right now, let's take a moment and I'll show you the inspirations that I used, okay? All right, let me turn this towards, okay. Let me turn off this light, and let's go look at the inspirations, and I'll tell you a little bit about what I like about them, okay? All right. Oops, this is tilting again. Mark and I still have to work out a couple little kinks. All right. And then I'll come back and look at if you have any comments or questions, I will look at those. Okay, here we go. And for this African giraffe that I'm doing, these are the ones that inspired me. So I'm going to come up to here and I'm going to do slideshow. And you'll be able to tell what I chose from where. This is where I got the idea for little turquoise in the sky. I love this, and that really gave me the idea of strips. And I've got a bird. Here is the specific technique I'm going to use. This, he's just in there because he's so darn cute. This, another idea, the silhouette, the sky, the trees. I'm going to have birds too. Another sky, just to get ideas of striations of clouds. Elephants, because they're just so darn cute. Look at this. I love that sky. And then up close is some thread painting. Here is my giraffe that I used as my inspiration. Look at this. This just gave me an idea for the striations of the sky. Look at this striations of the sky. And I am going to do birds in front. That'll be done with thread painting. Okay, now, hold on. Okay, let me go back to, all right, here, let me go back to this really quickly. And, whoops, no, I better go back to here. I love slideshow because it makes the pictures larger. I love that mosaic. Love it. And I love doing the silhouette in front. This is wonderful. All kinds, it looks like cracked ice. Look at this. There are so many ideas. I mean, is that dramatic or what? I love the striations in the sky. That got my attention. These are rectangles and different rows. I love how the light area is around the tree. More striations. I love, this did intrigue me. I never would have thought of doing it. And look at all these tiny pieces. And the eye blends them beautifully. These are squares. This is like a watercolor quilt. Love it. This is fascinating, but this scares me. I don't think I can handle that. And I love these diamonds. Oh my gosh. Another kind of what I'm doing with the strips. Look at these blocks. It's like rail fence blocks turned on end. And these are all squares behind the birds. Look at the movement of the sun that this is giving, or the moon, I guess you could call it. Love the wavy sky and land. This one is gorgeous, especially up here. Whew. I love the Bargello behind the silhouette of the moose and trees. Look at how this gives a feeling of water, the movement. Look at this, almost like a plaid background, but it's so effective. I love the storm at sea on a big wave at sea. This is just beautiful, just beautiful. I love this. This is so modern and hip, but it works. And look at the mosaic tile look with this swamp scene. And this reminds me of my Jody. It's a version of the Starry Night that she also did. I love the vertical strips in this one. Look at all the tiny triangles. But doesn't it work? Your eye, I thought about doing a dancer on a background. I thought about doing this on a complex background. Another mosaic, this time done at an angle. Careful placement of color. I thought about doing this on a complex background. I love how the piecing just shows the angle of the wind. And this, I love this quilt, courthouse quilt design, block design. Here again, strips and confetti or tiny blocks. This was a great inspiration for sky. And don't forget this Saturday night or early Sunday morning, we fall back. Yay, extra hour of sleep. Okay. And anytime I see something, it gives me good inspiration. I love this. All of these blocks and pieces, but that light. Look at this sky as start to this dead tree. And look at all of these monkey wrench blocks and then this piecing. And I love the flowing sky around this owl. I think we're just about done. Yeah, I think that was, one more. Mosaics running vertically behind a simple two birch trees. And look at that. Isn't that wonderful? So and that used to be my grand dog, and sadly he passed a year ago. But we miss him. So anyway, that'll give you some ideas of what I was thinking about and what I would like to accomplish with this. And I want to stretch myself so I can, because I never learned how to be an art quilter. I'm just trying it. And like anything that you teach yourself, you need to stretch yourself. You need to try new things and do new things. So now let me show you how I'm going to start this. Okay, but first I'm going to come see who's here. If you have any questions or comments, I'll check and see. If you type them in all caps, makes it so much easier for me to know that you mean that for me. Okay, let's see. I am so excited to see all of you. This is wonderful. We have a huge group. So Debbie was the first person here. Yay, girlfriend. Charlene Lawson, Melissa, Lisa. Oh, wait till you see her pincushion that I got in this week. Oh, shoot. I've got to write you all and let you know whose pincushions I have. There's one that I got really early on about a snail, and I don't remember who sent it to me. So there's only one person I'm a little fuzzy on, but I will write you the emails tonight. All right, I get busy with this whole machine stuff and forget everything. So let me see who else. Mary's here, and Charlene Lawson, Melissa's here, and let me see who else. Whoops. Let me see. All right. Jody is here. Yay. Diane 57. Marcia. This is so good to see all of you. And don't forget, if I've mentioned your name twice, feel free to shoot me an email to ourtimetoquilt@twc.com, and I will send you an invitation to our group's IO. All right, we've got a new member, Cynthia, and I'm hoping to hear from her soon. People sometimes join a new group and they're a little shy, but we like people to jump right in. Okay. Annette, it is so good to see you back, and that is wonderful. All right, I hope I didn't miss anyone. Miss Polly, yay, Miss Polly. But it is great to see all of you. And now, if you have any suggestion for how I should do this, please give me a holler. I'll go ahead and tell you what my ideas are. I want to keep Gloria Loftman's book is called Luminous Landscapes. Ooh, that sounds like a good book, Melissa. I will have to check that out. So I'm thinking that to give this background effect, okay, this is not the quilt I'm making, this is the background that inspired me the most. This is a whole bunch of tiny pieces. Makes me just a wee bit nervous. So I'm thinking, what suggestions do you have? I mean, so I'm thinking maybe to cut some strips, maybe an inch wide by however long, sew them all together. Then I can cut them into narrower pieces. You see what I'm saying? And then kind of put them back together. But, does somebody have a loss? I apologize if you did. I missed that. So anyway, but I don't want to try to sew little tiny narrow strips together. So I thought if I keep them at least an inch, then I can cut them in line with the seam, cut them narrow, whatever, then put those together. But do any of you vary the widths? Good thinking, Miss Polly. Yes, because I think that, they're not all the same, because if they were, it would look too matchy-matchy. Okay, so I'm going to choose the predominant colors that I saw in the quilt. Some of you might not like the next thing I do. I love tearing my fabric. So what I do to tear, you get a really good straight line. What I do is I do a nice straight cut and then I rip. Okay, and this is a really good color. So I'm going to do 2 of these strips. And I'm going to try to keep the strips relatively even because I can cut the lengths up. So I'm going to cut this one, follow Polly's advice, and make this one a little narrower. One thing I love is ombre fabrics that have all the different colors in them. This one goes from yellow, all the way to purple. So I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do with this one? I'm going to cut it that way across, because that way I will get automatic color changes. Okay, watch this. So I'm going to make 2 cuts. All right, I'm going to tear it. Oh, good, it stops at the orange. Good. So I've got 2 different widths for this. All right, I'll put this aside because I have a feeling I'm going to be using more of this one. But isn't that wonderful? In fact, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of the more orange, because most of that sky gives me the look of orange. You could fuse them down and then do the thread painting. The problem I have with that, Annette, I'm glad to hear you say that, is I've been having a mel of a hess, as they say, time with doing the thread painting on my Halloween quilt, because the fusible gums up the needle, breaks my thread, gums up the scissor cutting thing. It's just a real pain. So ordinarily I would think, yeah, do that. But I've gotten really fed up with having to clean the machine every 10 or 15 minutes of sewing. Try soft fuse, much better. Oh, thank you. Great advice. I love this, because see, you all have tried things that I haven't, and you have good advice for me. Always share your advice here. I really, really appreciate your advice. Okay, I'm going to get a piece of this. And once I make my strip sets, I can decide where and when to cut it. Then I'll resew them together. So, all right. And here, since this is so dark, I'm going to do just smaller pieces of this one. But I love tearing it, and it makes it so much faster. To try to sit down and rotary cut all these strips would drive me nuts. Now, you know the first strip you tear, if it's been cut before, the first strip will not be even. But that's okay, because I'm varying the widths of this. Let me show you that real quickly. Where's the one? Okay, here is the one I just did. And see how it gets fat in the middle? And that's to show you that when this edge down here, which looks straight, it wasn't cut straight. Fabric always tears. If it's cotton, linen, natural fibers, always tears on the straight of the grain. That's just the way the fibers were woven, and they have to have it very, very strong so it can hold up to all the printing processes, the finishing processes in the factory. So there's another one. So now talk to me about, do you have any ideas of what you want to do for your, I'm hoping you will have time. I know it's a busy time of year, but I tell you what, I get very excited at taking some time out just for me. Do any of you? Oh, Melissa, that I'm going to have to look for that. I was hoping that titanium would do a good job, but look at this. Look how off this fabric was. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and cut opposite that torn edge, and there we go. It's not perfect because it kind of breaks off at that point, but I think this is pretty good. I'll cut it one more time. And don't worry if I don't seem to be varying the widths enough, because what I'm going to do is when I sew them into strip sets, and then I'm going to cut them up. And so it's like I need yellow here, so I'll cut off a piece that has the yellow on it. This is the only way I know to do it besides making a pattern and just cutting and fusing. And right now, I'm not very happy with fusing, but I'm sure I'll try it again before too long. It's been a real pain. So let me cut some more. Will you put those background photos in a file? Oh, yes. I guess I didn't put them on the site, did I? I will definitely do that because I spent quite a few hours searching for them. And if I can share them with y'all, it'd be great. Yes, I want to try a Teflon needle now myself. So that'll be wonderful. I love these yellow grunges. They've got so many good subtle colors mixed in. All right. Now, even this, look at the Stonehenge. And I really do think that having this variety of fabrics is going to be super. And so in just a moment, I'll stitch these together, start stitching together. Hopefully, if I don't have to clean out the machine, because I was working on thread painting until time to come on. Boy, this, it just gives you a really good idea that when you buy cut fabric from a shop, it's not nearly on the straight of grain. So, okay. This would be cool fiber for something, when I make my boho beads and stuff. I have to save that. I'm really into fibers and patterns and stuff now. I just love it. All right. Here I go. And then I'll get ready and start stitching some of these together. All right. And yes, what I will probably want to do, since I'm doing so much tearing, I will want to give these a little press. So, and when I press, I'll show you what I do with my giraffe. All right. I just love using all these different colors. And this one is a Celadon Jenny Beyer. You know what's funny is I've been looking at my recent quilt projects, and I have Jenny Beyer fabrics in every one of them, at least a couple. And that makes me smile. I used to keep my Jenny Beyer fabric segregated because I thought, oh, they're too special to just use willy-nilly. Well, come on, Deb. It was like they weren't getting used. And they make me so happy that I wanted to use them and enjoy them. All right. So this is a good one. Then for the light areas, I have this gorgeous butter yellow. So let me grab this one, and then I'm going to sew. Because I could sit here all night tearing fabric with you, but that's not really, that's like watching paint dry. Okay. All right. All right. Ta-da. All right. So I have these others that I'll use. I haven't even touched these yet, but I'll get some strips started. Now, if I had more time, then I would definitely take time and kind of look at the drawing and go, what colors are best together? But look at how many different colors there are right there. But when you look at it, it's amazing. So, and you might say, well, that's the water. Well, look at the sky. That too, it works. So the first thing we're going to do right now, I'm going to show you how, and you're going to say, well, you're using fusibles. Well, yes, because I want my giraffe to turn out perfectly. So what I'm going to do is take this piece of fusible. I mean, this giraffe is the star. All right, now I want this to eventually come out facing, whoops. Well, it's hard for you to see when I don't even point it there. Okay, I want the giraffe to come out facing this way. So I think, let me see. Hold it. This is where I have a hard time. I know if I were to put it on here, I would have to face him this way. So I guess, yes, I do want to put him down this way. I hope I get this right, or else I've got to print out a new one. All right. Now, let me real quick, I'm just going to cut out a general. You know what? Why did I do that? I meant to use it just to trace. Hold on. Let me put the paper back on it. Here we go. All right. Sorry. I got excited, and I all I can think about is that sewing machine, let me tell you. All right. And I'm just going to, now I could draw my own, but I've got so much work to do on the background. It was like, really? I don't think that's that important. Now the main thing I'm going to have to do is peel off that paper off the back. So I looked at tails earlier to see what does a giraffe tail look like. Okay, and now take this off. All right, let me peel off this paper. The good thing is I didn't iron it on there, so I should be able to get it off pretty easily. All right, now, I forgot he had a piece of tape on the back to hold him on the drawing. So now I'm going to take a piece of black fabric. You know what I love working with? When I'm doing all of this tearing of fabric, oops, don't go anywhere. When I'm doing all of this tearing of fabric and working on collage quilts, I love keeping a little lint brush handy because you will get lint everywhere. And there are certain times that you don't want the lint Okay, there's nothing here that'll iron the wrong way. So now I'm going to come in here and press this. Okay. All right. Now I can take my fusible and I lay him down like this. Yeah, I think this is going to work. Whew. I hope so. I should have cut him out before I ironed him, but right now I'm in a hurry to make sure he's just right. Okay, I'll cut him out real quickly. And then as soon as I get my, I'm not sure if I'm going to, I think I've just, instead of, normally I put this stuff on a foundation, but I think I'm going to sew the strips together, see how they work, because I've never made this before. We're doing this together. All right. And you know what? They have long, furry tails, and I forgot he's all going to be in silhouette. So I need to cut that long, furry stuff at the same time. All right. All right. So let me get, I love the little knobs on the top of their head. So cute. All right. So you can see what I'm doing. And I think it's going to be really cute. And a giraffe's tail has like a knob on the bottom. It's really cute. It gets a little bit, oops, I don't think I had you. I'm sorry. Oops. Okay. They have a little knob. Their tail is a little skinnier and then it's knobby at the bottom. So I do all kinds of research because I don't remember this stuff. You know, you see it and you kind of know, but it's important for me to get it right because these are wonderful creatures and I want to do justice by them. All right, so I'm almost done. This didn't take long at all. And I wasted a little fusible and a little black fabric, but that's just fine. In fact, when I do some of the taller grasses that will show black in front of the sunset, I will use some of that black for that because they will look. Okay, so here he is. And now what I'll do with him is when I get my fabric together, I'll pull off the back paper and I just press him down. So this is, and you can see that wasn't hard to do at all. Oops, I forgot to put my cap on my Dale Earnhardt Jr. Sharpie that I've had a dozen years at least. All right, so now let me come over here. Whoops, 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 whoops. Sorry, guys. I am probably going to make y'all a little nauseous. Oh, Tulle. Yeah, so you're talking about, oh, that's great. Yeah, Tulle is a wonder for holding in like confetti quilting or little snowflakes. That's a wonderful technique. Just any little pieces of fabric that you need. Right now, I'm real quickly just giving this fabric a press because some of these pieces that I tore really kind of drew up a little. But some people don't like to tear fabric because they say, well, it wastes it because it leaves a little frayed edge. Now, that part will be in the seam allowance. So I just pressed it out. All right. Got to take off my black thread. I'm hoping if this acts up, it's just because I haven't thoroughly cleaned the needle because I've been in a hurry. But let me put this on, get it rethreaded. All right. All right, now I tried to take and wipe down the needle with my hand, but what I should do, honestly, is have a bottle of alcohol here and clean it off really, really good with the alcohol. Let me see how my bobbin, okay, hopefully it didn't make it sticky in the automatic thread cutter. Gosh, I love, my automatic thread color is my favorite thing. All right, I'm going to get 2 long pieces of fabric and start stitching them, and yeah, just a regular stitch length. I don't think I need to do anything too crazy. And cross your fingers that my thread cutter is not too gummed up. Yay! I am going to miss this girl when I do sell her, but it will be such a great help to have the automatic presser foot lifter. And then I'll still, when I finally get my Juki back from the repair shop, the other Juki is a something F600, which I love. It has thread cutter and stuff, but it just doesn't have the automatic presser foot lift. And if any of you have done thread painting, you'll know how important it is to be able to keep your hands on the fabric instead of having to lift the presser foot every time you go to move or turn a direction. So, all right. So I'm just going to, this week, I'm going to work on just sewing all kinds of strips together. And this doesn't have to be perfect. The neatest thing is you kind of want it to have some personality. These aren't going to be straight lines. So see, you come out and you've got this, and then I will pick a color like this orange and put it against here. And I'm just going to have all these color strips available. Then I will cut them to various lengths, because I looked at that and thought, how did they do that? And I just don't want to sew a bunch of 1/2-inch strips together. So I said, if I make them bigger, then I can trim them. I'll show you, see what I mean. And I'm hoping this will work, but we'll find out. And if you have other ideas, then please share it with me. But yeah, what you do with that tool is, now you can get a fusible powder and pour on fabric and then sprinkle the confetti or bits over it, but it has to be something that can be ironed. Then you would take an ironing cloth and iron the confetti bits down, and then you can put the tool over it. You can either do zigzag stitching with invisible thread all over the confetti, or you can put a layer of tulle over the confetti and then stitch around that, and it'll hold it in. Okay, so I'm just going to, let me give this a quick press. If you can figure out a better, I really am excited to see how you decide to do some of these backgrounds. I heard that what made me think of this is one of the women talked about using up orphan blocks that had been given to her, and she didn't want to make a quilt with them. So she took the orphan blocks and stitched them together, and then took the rotary cutter and mat and just cut them into all kinds of shapes, and then re-sewed them together, and that gave her her background. So it's kind of, and this is what I'm thinking. Let's say if I want a narrow strip, I can come right in here and I can cut whatever width I want. And so this could be a piece, and then I sew it inside something else. So I'm just going to anchor the strips down and decide where to cut them, and it'll be like making a jigsaw puzzle. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So over here, I'm going to put a darker piece over here. But to try to do some people might make a numbered list and put tiny pieces. I'm not sure that I have the patience for that. But if I have all these strips, then I'm just going to use this as if it's regular fabric and cut and piece what I need from it. So if I need more of an orange area, I'll cut strips of the mostly orange. If I need a dark area, I'll cut strips from the dark areas of these. So when I sew these together, I'm going to make the lights and the mediums near each other, and I'll make the darks and the mediums near each other. And because I can always then cut those. And if I want a light strip near a dark strip, I can always cut the strip and turn it so they are bumping each other. But once I cut these out, I can turn them any which way to make them work. So now I have 4 strips. And I'll come in here with one of these really sweet oranges. It probably would help if I made the strips the same length, but I'll work on that. All right, so I'm going to put one more strip here. These I'm thinking of as fabric. So when I need whatever color I need, I will cut it off of this strip. And what I really loved about the backgrounds that use the strip method is one strip would end and another one would start, and they'd be 2 entirely different shades, or light and dark. And you know what? It was cool. And your eye tends to do the work for you and blend them into all of those photographs were easily recognizable. Now, if you want to do some searching of your own, I'm going to put these on our groups IO. But if you'd like to do some searching of your own, what I typed into the Google search engine was art quilts with interesting backgrounds. And that's what came up. And you could also type in art quilts with piece backgrounds or painted backgrounds, whatever that is. Now, I'm going to give you a hint. Let me press this real quick and then I'll show you. I would not cut a thin strip of this all the way down the edge. I would cut just a little bit longer than what you know you're going to need, because you don't want to waste all of it. But you see what I'm saying? So if you cut like this part, just cut this part off, and then what do you want to stitch this to? And so you could come over here and stitch a little bit of this here, and you can cut this strip anywhere you want to get the thickness and the look you want. All right, let me show you this. And I'm going to work with this. I might decide I don't like this method, and then I'll go looking for another one. But let me press this real quickly. Okay. So now I've got something like this. And then I might want this to get a little darker. So, and that's another reason I want a lot of choices. I picked so many different colors because I'll show you again the picture I chose. I love how many choices it gave you. And that way you can decide how thick or how thin to make your strips. If you don't want this one that thick, which now looking at it, I think it's a little too thick. So what I'm going to do is pull this fabric off and sew it a little closer together. All right, let me try this again. All right. I'm going to sew it a little closer together because I think I really am going to want to keep the lines uneven, but a little bit narrower, so there's lots of color change, lots of dynamic color choices. Then I'll cut off the excess from that light that I decided I didn't want. And then I think that will be better. And you can keep going and cutting them thinner and thinner, whatever you want to do. You can make the pieces like if you want to go a few rows at a time, you can do that. So here is what she's got. You see lots of stops and starts, lots of changes in color. Hopefully this will work. But if I just, I'll think to myself, Deb, just do big squares. That would be easy. What? I don't necessarily like doing things the easy way. So, all right. Well, I've got good news. I did take some time this week, and I worked on the Christmas quilt sashing and borders. So I'm going to have something to show you for that Sunday. And then we have block 11. And then after block 11, there's just one more. So I'm so excited. We're coming down the finish line. So I will make sure to have that for you Sunday. And if I do any more work on this, I'll show you give you a sneak peek of the progress. Well, I think that's all I needed to say. Is there anything that you wish I'd have talked about? You're still working on your Halloween art quilt. Isn't it fun? It's like being a kid again and cutting and pasting. And I can't wait to put the extra backing on this and to quilt it and make the moon and the pumpkins pop out like little round objects they are. So isn't it fun? And it's just cutting and pasting. So a lot of fun. And I think the thread stitching really makes it pop, the thread painting. So it's fun. But like I said, if you want either of these patterns, just shoot me an email at ourtimetoquilt@twc.com and I'll share them with you because they're just fun. They're fun. All right. It was it was a caterpillar that I got really early on. Did you send it to me really early on? And but I'll send you a picture of it and you can tell me for sure if that was yours. But I'm very excited. So tonight I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to send everyone who entered, because Sunday we're having the drawing. And Mary, we're going to have the drawing early so Mary can be here to help judge, because you all judge the winner who's going to get the gift certificate. Okay? Okay, so that was yours, Mary. Good. I'm glad to know, because I was nervous when I saw I didn't have a name for it. So, there's Carol. Oh, honey, it's so good to see you. All right, everybody. I will see you this Sunday. Stay warm, because if you're anywhere near us, we're having a little cold snap. And Mark said it's time to bring out the electric blankets. But y'all are a joy. I'm excited that I finally nailed down an idea for the art quilt. And can't wait to work on it for the next couple weeks. So let's see what you do. I will also post the inspiration photos for you on our site. Okay, it was great to see you, Melissa. I got it, Melissa. Oh, you sweetheart. Okay, well, I can't wait, and we'll do that drawing early in the show Tuesday so Mary can still be there. Take good care, Annette. It was wonderful to see you again. Thank you to so many people who are sending me wonderful photos. I can't wait to do show and tell Sunday. Take good care. Have a great Saturday. And then I hope to see you Sunday for our time to quilt. Take good care. Do something fun tomorrow, just for you. Bye-bye, everybody. I love spending time with you. I finally found the mouse so I can sign out. I'm a mess, I tell you. Take good care. So good to see you. So good to see you all. Bye-bye.